All right, Minette is covered in cat hair. Welcome again to the Path to Profit podcast. I got you on live with that one.
Yes, thank you.
And today we're thrilled to welcome Elizabeth Bachman. Hi, Elizabeth.
Hi, Brad and Minette. I'm just so happy to be talking with you.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. Thanks for saying our names because, you didn't even say our names in the beginning this time.
Yeah, I guess.
So this is Brad Dobson. I'm Dr. Minette Riordan, and we're super excited to be here as part of the Path to Profit podcast. It's amazing how many episodes we've recorded already.
Yeah, we got about 10 more weeks, and then we'll have our first year under
First
our
full
belts.
year. Yeah, it's pretty exciting, and we've had some pretty amazing guests, and today is going to be no different. So you want to start with a quote, and then I'll share more about Elizabeth?
Yeah, definitely. Minette pulled this one this morning. Very presidential from John Quincy Adams. If your actions inspire others to dream more, learn more, do more, and become more, you are a leader. You are leaders. You are
a leader. He can't read my handwriting.
It's so true, though.
You want to read it again?
Well, you said leaders, so
I know it was a handwritten error.
If your actions inspire others to dream more, learn more, do more, and become more, you are a leader. We like to think of ourselves as aspiring to that. And I think Elizabeth does too from her bio.
Yeah, well, and I thought it just resonated with you as the star maker.
Yeah, and it's actually, that's sort of a daily aspiration. You really want to inspire people. And I was just noticing this morning on some of the notes I took, I was listening to the radio the other day and heard somebody say, it's not about how much you can sell, it's about how many lives you can change.
Yeah.
And I said, perfect. That's me. He just said my whole philosophy in probably way fewer words than I would have.
Yeah, and it's okay to make money, right? So,
Yes.
Remembering for all our sweet creatives and holistic practitioners out there, changing lives is the big why, no doubt, but it's okay to make money doing it along the way.
Yes, and that took me years, I have to tell you. Took me years to learn that one.
Well, speaking of years, let me share a little bit about you, and then we'll dive right into our conversation and our question. So I always like to share how I met our guests, if I've met them before. So Elizabeth and I met at an event in a beautiful building in San Francisco last fall, I think it was. And I was really struck by your presence. We had a follow-up conversation. You have some amazing stories. So I'm hoping you're going to share some of those stories today. But Elizabeth Bachman is a speaker, best-selling author, and presentation skills trainer. She's known as the star maker for speakers. She's passionate about helping people shine on any stage. Using her 30-plus years of experience as an international opera director, directing luminaries like Luciano Pavarotti and Placido Domingo, she helps business professionals, authors, and speakers learn how to stand in their power, find their unique voice, close more sales, and become known as the star you are. So welcome to the show. There's so much juicy goodness in there. I can't wait to dive in.
Welcome.
Thank you.
And those are some serious name drops. Those are about as big as you could make.
Well, I figured I really did work with all those guys. I might as well brag about it.
I agree.
Amen to that. Yes. And I'm curious how long it took you in this business to start to brag about that.
Actually, I did that fairly early on because I was, as I said, 30 plus years in the opera business, and I had run a nonprofit school for several years before I started training presentation skills for business people. And so I was already bragging about that because I had to raise money for my nonprofit in order to fund the school. Nice. And then when I started working with business people purposefully before that, and we talk about getting paid, I used to help my friends with their presentations. And then I said, oh, I could actually get paid for this. Oh, what a concept. So that was exciting.
It sounds like a big mindset shift along that journey from opera director to nonprofit school to entrepreneur focused on getting paid for your gifts.
Well, the nonprofit was training opera singers.
Okay.
So that was still in the opera business, but that's actually how I learned the skills of public speaking. Would you like to hear?
Yes.
But, first of all, I've been dedicated to the art of great communication since I first walked on stage at age 5.
Nice.
And actually, my mom said I was the best damn bunny rabbit that ever graced the stage at the Hillside School. And
that's a perfect vision. I see it.
I was hooked. I was like, oh, they like me for this. I was totally hooked. And then I've just kept on going, first as an actor, then as a director in opera specifically, and now as a trainer. And I used to, and it was always fine. Other people paid me. But it was easy for me to get out on stage and talk and be entertaining. That was a big part of my job as the director. The director, first of all, you have to, well, to tell you the truth, directing opera for me really pertains to business. And when I talk to my friends in the corporate world, I tell them that directing opera is about getting a group of, first of all, you have a vision, you have an idea of where you want to go, and then you get a group of really talented, really opinionated people, and you've got to get them all sort of pointed in the right direction, in the same direction, to do it the way, and then you pull the best out of each person over you as you go, and you have to deliver it by a deadline, because 8 o'clock Saturday night is going to come running around and people will have paid a lot of money for their seats. You've got to deliver a product at that point. Oh, and doing it in 5 languages. So that's what it was. But I always wanted to run a company of my own. That had always been a dream. And in the early 2000s, I was invited to bring young opera singers to the Austrian Alps, to the most beautiful place in the world. It was like the hills are alive with the sound of music. Like, yay! Oh, I get to go make music in the Alps all summer. Fabulous. Except for this teeny weeny little problem, which was I had to raise $100,000 to do it. And to do that, I had to give speeches. And that's where I learned. I mean, you're a speaker, Manette. I don't know, Brad, if you do this as well, but.
Starting.
Yeah. Well, have you ever been there where you're giving your all and then you get to the place where you're asking for money and your voice gets sort of quiet and you start to mumble and not look at them?
Yeah.
You know that feeling?
Yep.
Yeah, I watched Manette progress through that for a few years.
Yeah. Or anybody who's listening, or you get so nervous when you're asking them for money that you totally mess it up, and then they turn polite. This is America. No one's going to really boo at you. People are polite, but then they'll. And then they walk out, you watch them walk out the door with their credit cards still in their pockets. I was desperate. I didn't know what to do. I had young people who were counting on me to help them realize their dreams. And I had staff who had contracts. And the most importantly, I had told the world, my world, I was going to do this. So I don't know if you've ever been there, but if you know the feeling between it's either massive success or massive humiliation. And what saved me—
That's a good motivator.
Yeah. And I really didn't know what to do. And what saved me was a speaker trainer came to one of my fundraising parties and called me up the next day. And she said, there are a few things you could do that would make it a little better. And what I realized was that what she showed me was I could still be me. I could still talk about what I was passionate about, but there were tools that I didn't know what I didn't know. Yeah. And there were tools available to me that would reach people's hearts and get them to open their wallets. And that it was okay to inspire and close sales.
I love that.
And when I started working with her, to tell you the truth, I didn't really have the money. I couldn't afford to hire her because I hadn't actually made any money yet. And I realized that my commitment to the people who needed my help had to be greater than my fear.
Yeah.
And so I found that money and I hired her, and it was the best decision I ever made. I invested in myself by hiring her, and it changed my world. It changed my life. And then best of all, I'll never forget the first time I went in and I was talking to somebody. This was a one-on-one conversation because this is one-on-one and to groups. And I was asking for $100. And she wrote me a check. She handed me a check and she said, here's $3,000. Here's $3,000. This is a full scholarship because I believe in you and what you're trying to do.
Nice.
And every so I raised $100,000, and then and then the $50,000 I had to raise every year to keep it going. So that was really.
But you did.
And I did, and I thought, oh, this is amazing. And then a few years later, I went to a group where they had public speakers, and people were talking about learning to be a public speaker, and I went, oh, you mean I could get paid for this? Actually keep some of the money instead of putting it all in the nonprofit? And I was hooked.
Yeah. Nice.
Folks, I love the story. I love the whole story.
Yeah.
But there's a meta level discussion there, and I hope you all heard it. Everybody on the podcast right now, all three of us, are here because we invested in ourselves. Mm-hmm. And we overcame the scary, gut-wrenching fear of putting that money out and rolling the dice on ourselves. And we paid a coach, or we paid coaches, or we paid an expert to help us with those things. So it's just, there's a whole other discussion there, but I hope everybody hears that if you want to reach the next level, you need to take those steps. You have to do it. You have to overcome those fears.
Well, I think that,
I guess that's a digression.
Yeah, but no, it's not. And I think that your comment, because it's one of my favorite ones, I often say to my clients as well, when they're struggling just to have sales calls and have those conversations, is that your commitment to serving other people has to be greater than your fear, which brings us all the way back to what you said at the very beginning of the conversation about why you're doing this, that it's, all about changing lives.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
And how important that is, and that the money will come. And then you're inspiring and closing sales, right? So I love that there's all these beautiful things we're tying together here. So
plus opera.
Yeah. Well, and the other thing is, it turns out that the skills you need to sell a song aren't all that different from the skills you need to sell a product or a service or a
sponsorship.
Or a sponsorship or an idea. It's a lot of them are. It's just different vocabulary.
It is. Yeah, I love that. So I'm curious what's going on in your business right now. What are you excited about for 2017?
Oh, I have some very exciting news. I'm launching a couple of new programs that aren't quite ready to go on air. And I'm facing my fear and pushing my comfort zone. I'm finally branching out to do a workshop in June. I've got a workshop coming up. So if anybody's interested, just ask about the workshop at elizabethbachman.com. The sales page isn't ready yet, so I'd hoped I'd had it ready for today, but it's not.
Awesome. That's fine. So tell us a little bit about, is this going to be, I assume, about being a speaker?
Well, yes. So my signature program is called Mastering a Signature Speech That Sells. Mm-hmm. And what I'm working on, I'll be doing, pardon me, a 2-day workshop in the fall, where you'll walk out of there with the outline of your signature speech and know the things that you're going to need to do to get the audience engaged, get them excited, and to make sales. Because I tell you, I talk to presenters all over the San Francisco Bay Area, actually all over the world, because I have clients internationally. And I talk to people who produce programs, and they're usually overwhelmed with speakers. They've got speakers for days, but speakers who can inspire and close a sale are few and far between.
Yeah.
And that breaks my heart, because what really what motivates me is I see so many speakers who aren't getting the results they need, basically not getting the sales they need, when they present and they've spent all this time and energy getting ready, and they walk out with $100 or something. It's nowhere near paying the cost. So my dedication is to help people master a signature speech that sells.
Awesome.
And that's the name of the workshop, is Master Your Signature Speech Live. And it's going to be June 17th. And I think I've just nailed down a location.
Nice.
So that's good. And it's going to be a chance to work in person. In San Francisco, yes.
Nice.
Actually, I have a line on a conference room. This is going to be a smaller, like a beta version of the big workshop.
Awesome.
And I've got a conference room lined up with a view of the bay on the 16th floor, one of the big downtown buildings.
Oh, nice.
So it's going to be hard to keep them watching me instead of looking out the window.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna try and tease a little bit of the details out of it. You don't have to give away all the good stuff, but I'm interested because we had our clients up here for one of our quarterly client meetings up in Santa Barbara, and we were teaching them about their signature talk and sort of the concept of the hero's journey and that type of stuff. So I'll take me as an example, and I know there's lots of y'all out there who maybe don't think of yourselves as charismatic, and you don't think of yourselves as having a signature story, or being someone who's very good at selling things. So I'm interested, Elizabeth, maybe just some hints about how you can take someone like that and even though they don't have the self-confidence about their story, what are some of the things that they can do to get to actually getting up on stage and starting to practice in front of people?
Actually, that's in some ways, that's the most fun part for me, because I've had 30 years of teaching performers, and from the young ones doing their first thing ever to seasoned people like Pavarotti, who would still come to me for advice. And the great thing is, the answer is practice. Basically, nobody plays Hamlet the first time they pick up the script. You practice, you get used to it, you try it a few times. And then as far as the stage fright is concerned, fortunately, we have 3,000 years of tools and techniques to pull from. And I'm thinking 3,000 back to the Greeks, which are the last, it probably started before that, just the Greeks were the first ones that wrote it down. So that's where helping to train a presenter, be it a CEO or someone who's running a nonprofit and needs to raise money, or someone who's speaking about their own business. You can use the same techniques that I've used with an opera singer who is doing her first aria ever and is terrified.
Right.
Because you actually cannot sing if your throat is closed in panic. So really, it's one of the things you have to learn how to do.
So I'd love you to just back up a little bit, because I love that you mentioned the CEO, the nonprofit leader raising money, or the entrepreneur making business in their money. Would you talk about one of my favorite topics, which is why speaking is the best and fastest way to make money and create impact?
Well, the thing is that it is one of the best and fastest way because, first of all, you're speaking to a group, although I do a lot of work with people on their one-on-one work too. Whether you're speaking to a group of tens or hundreds or just one significant person, which is sometimes scarier, often scarier actually, it is a way of having them experience who you are and what's important to you, because people buy from people. They don't buy the product. And often when I do a speech, I talk about the three big mistakes that presenters make that cost them sales.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm very clear, this is about sales. Yeah. This is about either selling an idea if you're inside a corporation, or selling a product or a service if you're an entrepreneur, which is what I've been my whole working life. And it's about selling, rather than just selling the features of the product, You want to sell the feel, the idea. And when you do it live, people get your energy. They understand. They say, okay, I like her. I like her presence. I like the way she works. And I've seen people who've come up and they had marvelous technique and they've got great things to sell and big followings. And I just said, and this is not going to be the coach for me. This just didn't really work. And one time I had a friend dragged a friend to one of my workshops. And the guy who came, he said, look, I sell cookware at Bloomingdale's. Can you help me? And so he got up there and he was talking about this fancy copper frying pan that he was supposed to sell. And he was speaking to groups. He would talk to people as they came by. And he was talking about the copper and the layers of this. And I said, no. You want to give them the feel.
Yeah.
And people don't think about scent, but scent is one of the most evocative ways of getting people to connect with you. So I said, you hold up the frying pan and you waft it. That's a little too close to this. You hold up the frying pan and you waft it and you say, can't you just smell the garlic? And he wrote to me a week later and he said, I've been doing this at Bloomingdale's and I have doubled my sales.
Nice.
Just with, this is the pan you're going to pull down first to cook your dinner. Can't you just smell the garlic? Yeah. So it's stories, pictures, and I mean, that's part of the technique. That's part of the how you do it.
Right.
And the how, but who you are on stage is 93% of what people perceive about you. Only 7% comes from your words.
Wow. Will you say that again so people
Only
really get that?
7% of what people perceive about you comes from your words. The other 93% is who you are, how you present them, the delivery, your energy. Actually, if I may tell another story, my client Mary is a wonderful lady who's a writing coach. So her words are great, but she gets really nervous. And when she's in front of a group, her voice drops and she kind of gets to a monotone and she forgets to smile. So we worked with her on how she delivered these wonderful words she was writing. And she sent me an email a little while ago and she said, oh my God, it was amazing. I only had 3 minutes on stage and I was really nervous because I wasn't allowed to make an offer, but I did what you told me. I used your instructions. And my friends said they'd never seen me so grounded and compelling on stage.
Nice.
And best of all, 8 people came up to my table afterwards and bought my introductory program. So $8,000 in 3 minutes.
Yeah, I know, that's awesome. So what are some of the other mistakes that you see a lot of presenters make when they're trying to sell on stage?
The third biggest I say is to you have to match your message to the room. The third is not being relevant. Having the audience not being, and that's about who are you talking to? Are you talking to the right people? And are you giving them what they want? It might not be what they need, but wait till they're working with you to give them what they need.
Right.
You've got to give them what they think they want. The second one is too much how and not enough why. So again, it was like
dive into that one a little bit more.
Too much explaining and not enough.
Too much of how you do what you do, and not enough of what the benefits were.
Yeah.
In some ways, that's sales 101. You want to sell the sizzle, not the steak. Sell the benefits, not the features. But the thing is that you two are experts in what you do. I'm an expert. I'm sure everyone who's listening here is an expert. It's really easy to get caught into talking about how you do what you do.
Yeah.
And the thing is to focus on what are they going to get.
Yeah, the other problem with the how that I see a lot of my clients doing is they're over delivering content so that people feel really complete, like they can go off and do it on their own.
Yes.
Right? And that they don't need your help.
It's kind of like feeding them a big dinner and then trying to sell them dessert.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah.
Which restaurants do all the time. I still haven't figured that one out.
Yes, well, it's a matter of, to tell you the truth, you as a speaker, your job is not to educate them. If you're doing a speech to promote your business, your job is not to educate them. Your job is to be a figure of hope and to give them the hope that they can solve their problem through working with you.
I love that.
That's so clear. That's such a great
as
way
a
to
speaker, you are a figure of hope.
So you have me wondering about this. So the part about 93% of it is the presentation, the physicality of it. What can we do to so obviously everybody understands how they could do that through words, compelling words. What is it we can do on stage with our posture, our micro expressions, our, presenting who we are physically that can embody that hope?
I'll tell you what, I'm going to give you a tip. I'm not going to give you too much of the how.
That's fine.
Because it's different for each person.
She's not going to give all our secrets away.
So, well, no, but because...
No, I'm just teasing.
No, but I mean, because what I do is so tailored to the individual.
Yeah.
I work with my clients, especially with my VIP clients. It's very specific to each person.
Yeah.
But one of the key things is, if you're nervous, I mean, just imagine yourself in front of a hostile audience. And then if your voices are talking, if the voices are back here and they're talking in your head, they're usually saying something like, they're going to think you're stupid. They're going to think you don't know they're going to think this. But the truth is, you cannot know what they're thinking.
Right.
And actually, if this is a speech to promote your business, they want you to be amazing because they've taken the time to come and listen to you.
Yeah, I love that.
So they want you to be fabulous.
Mm-hmm.
It's the voices in your head. And I don't know about you, I don't have one voice. I've got a whole choir. And if the choir is singing too hard, too much, it just, I can't, it's hard to drown them out. The key is, and here's the important part, get out of your head. Make it about them.
Yeah.
And one of the best ways I know how to do that is to think of them as guests at your dinner party. Again, the analogy of feeding them a wonderful dinner and then selling them dessert. Well, then if you know that the pièce de résistance is going to be dessert, bringing them your offer on stage, and this is something I tell my clients a lot, the service that you're going to offer or the product that you're going to offer, imagine that these listeners are guests at your dinner party and you come out of the kitchen and you've got this amazing cake that you've baked. Imagine the expression in their eyes as they say, oh, wow. I have a sister who's a pastry chef, so I have lots of it. And then if you think about it as, welcome to my party. So you might even say, Brad, I would even try that with you. Imagine that you're facing a hostile audience and just say to them, welcome to my party.
Welcome to my party.
For you? And then, do I have something for you?
Do I have something for you? I like that. That's great.
Yeah. So that's something I often do. I'll get people up on their feet and have them really do a big, expansive gesture to say, welcome to my party.
Yeah, I like that. It makes it a lot more personal, and I think it would connect me to the audience more, which is really critical for me. I understand what you're saying about the choir in your head.
Yeah. Well, and it's all internal. So the key is to get out of your head, make it about them. Put yourself in their shoes. What do they want? What are they looking for? Pay attention to how are they responding? Are they leaning in, or are they checking their texts on their email, on their phone? It's really, can we make it about them and invite them to your party?
Nice. I love that. And it just makes it feel so different because then you instantly claim ownership of the stage, the room, the space. This is my party and you're all welcome here.
Well, and actually on a neurological level, if you want to be scientific about it, it has been proven that human beings have energy fields. And, they've taken pictures of the energy fields. So if you say, welcome to my party, this is my party, then they'll have you, that puts them in your territory, in your space. There's another exercise I often do called the magic carpet, which you really have to do in person. You can't do. You have to come to my workshop and do it with me in person.
I was looking at the date. I'm like, dang it, we have our clients here that weekend. But in the fall, it would be fun to come to your 2-day workshop. That would be awesome.
Well, we'll talk about the fall. I would love to have you. I would love to have you come. That would really be fun.
That would be super cool. And any excuse to go to San Francisco is a good one for me.
Good.
So,
good.
Total change of topic as we're winding down on time here. You reading anything fun, exciting, inspirational at the moment?
To tell you the truth, I read for escape. So I read fantasy and science fiction.
We love you.
Yeah. Oh, good. I'm so glad you didn't laugh at me. I read
the same thing.
And I go off into other worlds.
Yeah.
And the thing is that having done that since I was a kid, it also gives me a habit of perception, of thinking, well, let's not be so humanocentric, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
That, when people complain about hitting a decade for a birthday, having a decade birthday, and I say, well, it's only a decade because we count in base 10 because humans come with 10 fingers and 10 toes. If we had 7 fingers on one hand and 4 on the other, we'd be counting in base 11. And then turning 50 wouldn't be such a bad idea.
That's very geeky. I love it.
I love that.
I kind of geek out about it.
So you got to tell us, what are you reading right now?
I'm reading a series called by Lois McMaster-Bujold. It's a series of 4 books. And the title of the series is called The Sharing Knife.
Ooh.
And I am rereading it. I actually have it on my Kindle, so I can just go from one to the next, to the next, the next. It's really one very big book that comes in 4 volumes. So
we love this kind of series. We proactively spend lots of time on Amazon looking for what the hottest new fantasy fiction or science fiction series are.
Well, if you don't know Lois McMaster-Bujold, basically anything she writes is amazing.
Awesome.
So
I love it.
I reread her a lot.
Beautiful.
Last really good series I read, sci-fi series, was the Expanse series. They've made a Netflix
TV series.
Yeah, Netflix or Amazon. It's but fantastic science fiction. Just really, really good. Yeah.
I'll have to look that up.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And I love that you bring that up because I think it ties in so beautifully with a topic we haven't really touched on today, which is clearly an important part of your life's journey, which is creativity. And when we're living in those fantasy fiction alternative worlds, we're daydreaming, looking at things differently. I would imagine that as an opera director, you spend a lot of time in that creative space of just visualizing things differently.
Well, what I love is I'm a storyteller. I've been telling stories my whole life, as an actor, as a director, and as a speaker, because people relate to stories more than they relate to facts. That's another part of the more why than how, please. Yeah. And so telling stories, and then telling stories is a craft. So really, the thing that I'm really about is helping people with the craft so that they're free to go out and channel the art of their message, to be a channel for their message. And with the opera singers, it was giving people the tools so they could walk on stage and let Mozart sing through them.
Yeah.
That's what it's about. We're interpreters, and we've all had moments where ideas come, and it's like the muse is sitting on your shoulder, whispering in your ear, and you're channeling something that's bigger than you are and more exciting than you are. But if you channel it, if you send it out with no, just directly, you're going to swamp your audience. It's, it's like hitting them with a fire hose.
Yeah.
So the art of communication is to take that and funnel it down so it becomes a cool drink of water a day you're thirsty. Or maybe sometimes it's so fine that it's like that, like etching a beautiful design on a piece of silver with a very, very fine stream or a broad stream. And the whole craft about what I do, you could tell I care about this, the whole craft about what I do is how do you use all this information and all these tools to make your message unique and powerful and compelling and telling your story and doing it in a way that's going to reach every ear, every heart, every emotion in the audience.
Beautiful.
That's
awesome.
what I do. That's what I'm all about.
Yeah, I think she's passionate about this, folks.
It's so cool. And I think you Maggie, and I all need to go to her workshop in the fall.
That's right.
Do you have your fall dates already?
It'll be either the second or third weekend in September.
Nice. Awesome. Beautiful. So fantastic. That last piece alone was worth the whole show. That inspiration and that passion, that light shining through you. Ask the right question and get the powerful answers, right? And so also just again at that meta level, that was a beautiful example of inspiring and selling, right? Because your passion had us both like leaning in going, okay, we want more of that. How can we get more of that? So it's really, really beautiful again to just always kind of be that speaker geek and think about how effortless that was, how passionate it was, and yet how it moved us forward, right? Towards the next step with you. And so speaking of the next step, so people are all going to be leaning in after that inspiring moment. How can they connect with you and find out more? So
the easiest way to do that is to go to www.starmaker4speakers, StarMaker4 spelled out speakers.com/free gift.
Awesome.
And what I have,
we'll have that in the show notes.
Okay. And what I have is my gift to my fellow speakers is a series of email tips. They're email, some of them are video, some are email, and they come roughly once a week. And it's to give you one tip a week that you can apply.
Cool.
And it's everything from how do you structure your speech to why you shouldn't drink a latte before you speak, or why not to wear a new outfit for the first time in public.
That's a good one. So the why not to drink a latte, is it because of the milk, the coffee, the caffeine?
It's the mucus. It's the dairy gives you mucus.
Yeah.
So, and I tend to go a lot anyway.
Yeah.
So that's because I like my lattes, I'm afraid. I know it's not good for me, but I love them.
Before I speak or when I'm speaking or teaching, because it makes me burp, right? So you don't want to be burping.
Well, and so this is tea with a little juice in it.
Yeah.
To keep me, because my mouth gets dry.
Yeah.
That way, that helps me be able to speak.
Yeah. Cheers. Here's to hot tea, cold tea, all the tea. Yeah. So people can go to starmakerforspeakers.com/free gift to learn more about Elizabeth Bachman, and that's BACHMAN.com is her website. You can go there.
Elizabeth with a Z.
And Elizabeth.
There are a couple of other Elizabeth Bachmans out there with different spellings. So.
Oh. Well, and yours is the traditional spelling, so you made it really easy for us. And we
Elizabeth like the Queen. And if you're the East Coast, Bachman like the pretzels.
Nice. So. Bachman likes the pretzels.
No relation to last.
Elizabeth, thank you so much.
This was really fun. Thank you. I can't wait to see you at my workshop.
Yeah, that would be super fun. Yeah. And we'll have to talk about having you come to speak at one of ours as well, because I love what you're doing. And it's such a huge question that we get from our clients all the time. So stay on the path, keep inspiring people, and we look forward to seeing you soon.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Elizabeth. Oh, and by the way, speaking of workshops.
Speaking and workshops, this coming Saturday, May 13th, if you're in Southern California, I, along with my friend Molly Mandelberg, are hosting a super fun one-day creative freedom in action workshop. If you're looking to take your business online, turn your genius into an online course, this is the perfect workshop for you. You can learn more at bit.ly/creative freedom in action. It's all in the show notes. It's going to be in a private residence, a beautiful private residence overlooking a gorgeous pool and a waterfall in Encino, California. So easy access. And it's just $97 to come and spend a full day working on your business using a lot of creative play, dance, movement, and writing to make it all happen. It's going to be a ton of fun.
Cool stuff. All right, folks, we had fun.
I actually have one thought that I would like to leave you with that fits with what you're saying.
Sure.
It's working with creatives has been my life, is you are amazing and your people deserve your fabulousness. So Mark Twain, as a creator, to paraphrase Mark Twain, the difference between an ordinary speaker and a superstar is like the difference between the lightning bug and the lightning. So please go out and be the lightning.
Awesome.
Love it.
And with that, Elizabeth, Brad, and Manette signing off of the Path to Profit podcast. We'll see you next time. Make it a great day.
Bye, guys.